With the success of Chrono Trigger way back in the early 90s on the Super Nintendo, it was inevitable for Squaresoft or Square Enix to capitalise on this, which would see an inevitable sequel that would be based in the same universe as the original title with Chrono Cross, that would be released on the PlayStation in Japan in 1999 and later in other regions in the year 2000. The game would also see ports and even a remaster in recent times on modern systems with the PlayStation 4 and Windows, Xbox, even the Nintendo Switch. And without question, this is considered to be one of Square's finest moments in the RPG realm, because yes, they have created so many iconic RPG games, like, make no question about that. That's their thing. They are the powerhouse of that genre, and the PlayStation is home to, quite simply, in my opinion, the largest catalogue of RPG games in existence. Like, there's so many games out there that many of us don't even know about. A lot of them were only ever released in Japan, and there are some real hidden gems there, but that I've yet to explore, and I have seen some of them in action and they're really good, but I will cover them in later videos. But with that being said, Chrono Cross is often considered by many to quite simply be the greatest RPG game ever created on the PlayStation. So much so that when the game was released, it pretty much broke records in terms of its overall gameplay reviews. In many cases getting like 98%, 9 out of 10, 94% on Metacritic, even GameSpot giving it a 10 out of 10, which from looking on articles like even with Wikipedia and other resources, it was one of only 16 games out of a possible 40,000 games of the time that GameSpot had reviewed at the time that got that score. So that will tell you how good it really was. The game just has so many accolades under its belt that it truly is crazy. Like, in fairness, it's a masterpiece. So with the story of the game, it sees you play as a character of Surge on a tropical island that has been overrun with a variety of different monsters, but he also wants to learn of his past. So with the aid of his friends and colleagues and allies that you'll meet on your journey, you will have to progress through the story to figure out all of these elements while trying to face many challenging aspects along the way. But you will be able to upgrade your characters in typical RPG format, where you'll have to get involved in random battles at different stages to acquire items that you will need for not only survival but to allow you to progress. Anything from weapons to food and resources, health items, potions, anything that you need in order to help you take one step closer to success. But the one thing I want to get out of the way straight away is that this game is for a PS1 game, even from the original intro sequence and then down to the actual graphics. Yes, it does use pre-rendered backgrounds for the visual aesthetics on most of the environments that you're in, but the polygon count on the characters and even the environments when you go into the fight scenes are absolutely incredible. Like, for me, hands down, this has to be one of the most beautiful looking games I've ever seen on the PlayStation. Like, even emulation aside, even at its time, this game was simply stunning. It was and still is. Make no mistake about that. Like, there are a lot of good looking games on the PlayStation, but I have to admit that this is definitely without a doubt one of the best of them. It is a really good mix of colourful environments that are very bright and vibrant, but just the character models and everything that goes with it, even with the likes of the enemy types and the detail, that's the one thing I will say, is the level of detail in this game across the board is just exceptional. And I think quite simply it could have been and is Square's best addition in the lineup of RPG games that they released, especially with that element alone. alone, just for the visuals. It's no wonder the game was just highly praised. All you have to do is just look at it and you can see that you could guarantee that it's a masterpiece in most regards. Now, while your gameplay elements are very similar to games like Final Fantasy VII and the like, with basic attacks and patterns and magic, it doesn't shy away from the more mainstream gameplay style, but it does try to do a few different things here and there, even though in many cases it's probably considered a bit more simplified. But make no mistake, when you put time into this game, you'll find yourself getting hooked very, very quickly. I found that once I played it, it was very hard for me to want to put the game down, but I knew myself I needed to create enough footage so that I could make the video, and I had to kind of step away from it. But it is a game I would definitely revisit at some point. But with that being said, there's so many opportunities to play the game now, because with it being released on modern systems, you can get the game on Steam as well, along with Chrono Trigger as well, so there really is no excuse. And the fact is that it's been updated with modern visuals and even with graphics and stuff, it just looks as good today as it's ever done, so there's absolutely no reason to not play it. Plus, if you're a fan of any of the earlier Final Fantasy games, that especially were on the PlayStation, Chrono Cross is definitely one of the best alternatives that you can try. Make no mistake about that. The game just has so much depth and originality that it really just stands out amongst a sea of games that were seen at the time. But in saying that, there is still a lot more of these other games that we've yet to explore. There's just so many on the PlayStation. Like I said, it has one of the largest catalogues of these type of games I think in existence that are well worth exploring, and this is just one of them. It's beautiful to look at, has great gameplay, great story, great music. It is a very, very good all-round solid title, one of the best to be honest on the console. But I would love to know your thoughts of Chrono Cross for the PlayStation. Have you played this masterpiece, and what did you think of it overall? Or have you played it on even more modern systems? So be sure to share it down in the comments below. And if you would like to see more content around even more of these quirky RPG games that were also released on the PlayStation, then you can check out this playlist here on screen to see more of those games in action. And as always, keep those gaming memories alive.